Welcome back to Shorts Behind the Sports. We are here with head coach of men's soccer, Greg DeVito, who is part of the U.S. Soccer Federation coaching educator staff. Coach, please tell us a little bit about yourself and about what the U.S. Soccer Federation is.
Well, first, thanks for having me today. Honored to be a part of your initiative. I think this is a great idea, the things that you're doing. We always do a lot of great stuff with our sports info. So I've been coaching for since I was in high school, really. I started as a volunteer coach with little tiny kids. And so now that was, 30 some odd years ago. And been here at Eastern now. This is my 18th season. So I've been involved with the U.S. soccer piece also since I was in high school. I started doing some coaching classes that I took as like a 17 or 18-year-old.
Very nice. So why did you start doing it and get involved with that?
I always liked working with kids. Some of my summer jobs were like camp counselor and things like that. Just working with kids all summer long, and not necessarily just soccer camps, but I worked some of those, but more like day camps, like all sports camps and things like that. And then our high school coach suggested that some of us that liked working with kids volunteer with the youth program, and he used to take us like one night a week to do like some free clinics for the kids in Norwalk. And then a bunch of us coached like the rec teams, like co-ed rec teams on the weekends. So we'd have like one practice a week with them or two practices a week with them after our high school practices. And then we would coach their games on Saturdays. So it was a lot of fun doing that.
That's awesome. That's really nice that you get to see like young athletes progress and help out their progress for sure. Mm-hmm. What's been the most rewarding part of that process, you think?
Overall with coaching, the most rewarding piece?
Yeah.
Is just seeing people develop.
Mm-hmm.
In the college piece, it's the games and the competition is one piece of it, but just seeing people grow up and develop and how they turn out after college. And I feel like that's the most rewarding piece to me is, establishing those relationships and seeing people mature and grow up.
Absolutely, for sure. And now jumping back to the program, what are the different coaching licenses offered with the program that you were in with the USSF?
So U.S. Soccer starts with something called grassroots, and grassroots is like the beginning where you would enter the whole coaching education process, and primarily geared towards maybe parents that are volunteering as their child's youth coach, or could also be people that just want to get into coaching as a profession. Or as like a side, maybe they have a full-time job, but they're going to coach like club soccer. So there's all different reasons why you might enter the coaching process. It could be just because you've never coached anything or even played the game and you got volunteered into, coaching your kids' team, so you want to do it for a living. So that's sort of the entry place, and those courses are more just how to structure a practice and getting to know like the age of the people that are in front of you that you're coaching, so you get a little bit more background on that. And they tend to be pretty short online, maybe one day in-person courses. And then you work your way up, and the courses kind of start with letters. They have like E license and a D up through A, and then there's different levels of your A license as far as like if you're coaching professionals or if you're coaching youth. So you can kind of work your way through that. And then as you progress, the courses get a lot more in depth. So like an A or a B license would be like a 6-month course with a bunch of it being virtual, and then either 2 or 3 4-day long in-person meetings that are part of the course.
Oh,
so
wow.
You'd have like a bunch of virtual meetings, like more or less on a weekly basis, some of them with just one-on-one with your instructor, or maybe in a small group with your instructor. And some of them would be like a whole cohort of like 24 to 30 students.
Oh, wow, okay. And for like progressing to the next, certificate or license, is it just like a completion of the course, or like do you have to pass something to?
Yeah, you have to pass the course.
Okay.
So there's certain criteria for each course that determine whether or not you pass.
Gotcha.
A lot of it is really just learning. They're called like it's like the formative piece of the course where you can make mistakes and you can grow as a coach, which is the part that I like about teaching the courses, because people enter sort of at one place, and then 6 months later, you can see the progression. So the first several assignments or projects or practice coaching that they do is really just to get feedback. And so it's kind of a cool process, because it's not like at that point, it's not like pass or fail. You have to show progress and
Right.
be willing to accept feedback and be willing to take constructive criticism. And then as an instructor, you have to figure out, kind of like coaching, what each one of these adults responds best to.
Right. Yeah.
So there's that piece of it. And then towards the end of the course, the assignments matter. There's like a summative assessment at the end where, it's 3 or 4 or 5 assignments that sort of determine whether you pass or not.
Gotcha. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool how it's evaluated like that rather than like pass fail. Like you're really teaching like the
Mm-hmm.
soft skills necessary, I think, for coaching, which is awesome.
Yeah, and as you move up, you have to apply for the courses, so you can't just sign up for them.
Okay.
So you have to have like a certain level of team that you're coaching. As you go towards like your B and your A license, those two specifically, you have to have an actual team that you're working with, so that it's, which I think is another great part about the course, is the whole time you're working with your actual athletes.
Yeah.
So if you coach like a 15-year-old club team, you're working with that team, and me as an instructor, I'm seeing you work with kids that you're comfortable with and you know their name, and it's not like, some courses you show up and you work with a random team that shows up for that day, and it's a little different.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the rapport with them and so
Right.
forth.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Very interesting. And how unique is this program in sports in general? Like, do they have it for other sports, or is it specific to soccer?
Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I haven't heard a lot about other sports having similar programs, but I really am not sure.
Yeah. Gotcha. They should if they don't, because it sounds like a great program. And now going into like a little bit of a different topic, what do you think the challenges are for young coaches that are coming up through the programs and going up through the ranks? Do you think they're prepared enough?
I think it sort of relates to what you were just mentioning, in that other sports at the youth level, like soccer, is so popular. There's so many kids playing it. So there's a huge, huge need. And there's other sports too that are, just as popular, but there's a huge need for coaches. And so I feel like what's happening, there's more and more opportunities now to like pay to play, which has sort of gotten out of control. But because of that, they need more coaches, because all these programs are popping up and charging kids money to play, whereas in the past it wasn't like that. And so I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, because like when I started, I had like mentors that I didn't just take over a team, like I coached under somebody else, and so you have like an opportunity to learn. And now I feel like because there's so many opportunities out there, and now you can actually I didn't get paid to coach until I was in my late 20s, and now you could be like just out of college, and you can get a job like coaching and make like several $1,000s.
Right.
But what happens is you're sort of on your own. And so it's great that you're coaching and you're getting paid, but you're on your own. Like, you're not underneath someone necessarily, depending on which club you're with. And so it's kind of like trial and error. And I feel like that in some cases is fine, and in some cases it's like you miss out because you never get to see anyone else coach, and there's no mentor for you. And we see it in our courses where some of the clubs that the coaches come from have like a mentoring process, and their coaches are like really prepared, and then you see other ones that have sort of just been thrown into it. And so for them, I think it's a little bit more of a challenge, just because they don't have that guidance or mentorship that they need in their own local club.
Right, that makes sense. And if you had to like pick one thing that young coaches like should take away from the courses in general, I know it's hard to like narrow down, but what's like one thing you think that they should take out from it after completing everything?
Well, one of the things I love about the courses is we learn stuff as instructors. So, like, for example, I finished a course in July, and I had, a handful of students, and one of them was like 22, and he was amazing. like I learned so much from him. Like I feel like he learned things from me. He'll say he did, but I learned a lot from him on just like how he deals with kids and relates to that. And part of that is he has put himself out there. Like he will take, you know, any opportunity to go guest coach. He's from Florida, and be around people and get feedback and ask people questions, and learn things. And because he's so open to all of that, he's created all these different experiences for himself that someone his age probably wouldn't have access